Hello everyone, how are we all? I hope you're good. Today we're in October. It's October. Can you believe? I swear to God, as you get older, time flies so much quicker than you realise. Like, a week feels like a day, but when you're like at school, a week feels like, I don't know, it just feels like a lot. It feels like a week feels like 3 months, I feel like, at school. But in adult life, a week is like literally a day, which is madness. I think it's because you're so like focused on whatever you're doing, and you know, there's so much more to life than just like going to school and hanging out with your friends. Do you know what I mean? Anyway, I just thought that was mad that we're in October. But today I actually wanted to talk to you guys about confidence. I feel like confidence is something, some people are born with it and some people have to develop it. I don't think anyone has the same like type of confidence. I think everyone is a bit different, and where you've gained your confidence from is from various different things. And I also think that confidence and body confidence are very much intertwined. They're like the same thing, right? But they're different. So you could be super, super, super confident, but not be confident in your own body. Or you could be confident in your own body, but not confident, you know, physically when you're like talking to people and whatnot. And it really got me thinking, because I, for one, would say I'm pretty confident now. Like, I don't think anyone would meet me and think, oh, she's not confident. But I come from a place where I used to have the worst social anxiety, and there was no confidence there whatsoever. It didn't exist. Obviously, everyone has somewhat of a bit of confidence. You have to have confidence to do something. But like, I had nothing. And it's mad to me, when I even think about it, how I've gone from having little to no confidence to being someone who could talk to anyone. I can have a conversation with anyone. I can like chat. I don't really feel like I don't feel like I have to worry. But my journey to getting to this point has been quite a process. I don't think it's something that I have found easy at any point. And I think my confidence has majorly grown probably in the last couple of years. I have developed confidence over time, but I feel like in the last couple of years I actually feel like pretty like sure of myself. I'm confident. I know what I want. I know who I am. I know what I believe in. Whereas before, I think I was a little bit more swayed a little bit. Didn't necessarily like feel confident in my beliefs or in myself. So sometimes I would, you know, maybe dip a little bit and maybe not believe in myself as much, and not have the confidence to be like, yeah, this is how I feel, this is what I think. And I do think a lot of those things have come through different scenarios in my life that I've had to do in order to gain that little bit of extra confidence. I think confidence can be grown so much, but also some people are just born with it, and some people are just confident from the get-go. And I do think it depends on, like, you know, your parents, the area that you're brought up in, the type of people you're around, and all that. Like, I do think that has a big part to play. My parents were amazing, and I don't think that the fact that I suffer with social anxiety or super shy was anything to do with my parents, because they actually pushed me to do things and I didn't want to do them. So I don't think my confidence is down to that, but I do think that my parents, you know, if I didn't want to do something, they wouldn't force me to do it. They were very good like that. So I think, again, like, I didn't have that kind of like, you should do this, and push myself into situations as much as potentially it could have been. But I'm very grateful for the way I was brought up, and even though I was super shy and I had terrible anxiety, that's not down to them. That's just a situation that I dealt with. That was something to do with me. And they were very good about it, and they were very good throughout my whole childhood with me and my sister. So I don't think confidence is down to my parents, because my parents are pretty confident people. So I think that was just me, you know, and that's just normal. That's not a bad thing. But I never was confident. I wasn't confident from the womb, from out of the womb. My sister, I mean, my sister, I wouldn't say my sister's probably more confident than me, especially when we were younger. She definitely had more confidence, but like it terrified me doing such simple things. Like I've spoken about this before when I briefly spoke about my social anxiety, but I really struggled with just even like going and paying for something at in a shop. Like I wouldn't be able to pay for it. I wouldn't get in the queue until I knew someone else was in the queue so that I had something to wait. I wouldn't want to stand there and wait on my own. It was a really weird thing, but that's more down to the social anxiety part of it. Which I think having little confidence does come with the social anxiety part, because there's a lot of fear there. And I think that the fear that I had made me less confident. But there was always a bit of confidence in me. I feel like there always is. If you're someone at home and you're thinking, I'm not very confident, I want to be more confident, there's something in you that wants to be confident. It's putting yourself in the right scenarios and the right situations that then lead you to that confidence. I think that, if I hadn't done certain things throughout my life, I wouldn't be where I am now. I have forced myself to do so many things that I didn't want to do, just to gain a little bit more confidence, just to make myself feel better in myself. Because I was someone who's not really majorly suffered with body confidence. I've always felt pretty good in myself, apart from when I was at school. I don't know about anyone else, but when I was at school, you go from that like period of not wanting to wear kids' clothes anymore, but moving into adults' clothes. Like I remember when I used to think Topshop was just for adults. Mad. I'm sure teenagers don't think like that anymore, but back in the day, before like iPhones were a thing and social media, and that transition of being able to shop in Topshop. But I was really, really small. I'm quite a small, petite person. And when I was at school, I mean, I was literally I was just like skinny, and there was nothing to me, and clothes didn't fit me. And that was a body confidence thing I really struggled with, because I was like, why does nothing fit me? But I was just very, very small. So that was the reason. But that's one of the only times I felt like not confident in myself body wise. In terms of, but I've never been like super confident like in my body anyway, but I've never felt like not confident. Does that make sense? So my main thing was just being confident in itself. And that was really, really hard to get to grips with. I think that confidence really comes from where you want it to come from. Like if you want to be confident, if you want to gain confidence, if you want to get there, you'll get there. You'll find a way, you'll work at it. If you don't want to do that, then you won't get it. Do you know what I mean? Some people just have that confidence and they go and they keep doing, they gain confidence, and they're really loud, and they don't care what people think. And that can be really hard to get to. And mine kind of started from pushing myself to do things that inevitably I'd have to do at some point, but I didn't necessarily want to. There was different reasons. So like the urge to be confident had always been there throughout school. When you'd get something like people would compliment your hair, and you'd be like, oh my God, I have nice hair. And you'd be like, I have nice hair? Like what? People think I have nice hair. But it wouldn't come from a like, oh my God, I'm amazing now. It'd be like, oh my God, people think I have nice hair. Do I have nice hair? And you start thinking about like, oh, I have nice hair. Same goes for, I remember once when I was at school, someone said I was fit. God knows who it was, I can't remember. There was chat about it, right? And there was a bit of confidence here. We went on a school trip and we got hoodies with the the trip name down the side, and you got to have whatever you wanted on the back. This was quite a common thing at my school. You'd have a hoodie for the school trip and you'd have a name on the back. I really wish I kept them, but I don't have them anymore. And this one particular trip, I got Fitty put on the back because so many people, like my close friends, were like, yeah, I get it. And that was quite a bold move for me to take. Bearing in mind, I had no confidence. I was really quite shy. My social anxiety was quite bad. And I went and did that. That was a bit of confidence that I had in me that pushed me to do that. I don't know what went through my mind to have that kind of confidence to get that on the back. I should have just got my name, but I didn't. So I feel like the confidence was always there. It was finding it and finding the place in which I could develop it and the things I should do. Now, for me, confidence comes hand in hand with my social anxiety. As I gained confidence, my social anxiety kind of got better. I didn't find it as hard, and I think that was just because I did push myself out of my comfort zone a lot. I was determined. When I decided that, like, I don't want to be this shy person anymore, I don't want to be social anxiety, I don't want to have social anxiety, I don't want to be this person anymore, I want to be confident. I then started to figure out what it was I could do to make myself more confident and make myself do the things that everyone else is doing, which I'm terrified to do. So I thought today I could share with you guys my process in becoming the confident person that I am now, but the things you also can do to gain confidence if you're struggling with it, because I know that it's not something that's easy to some people, and it's also very easy to others, but I found it quite hard. I am 28 now, and I have probably been the most confident within the last 2 or 3 years. So, you know, and even so, I still haven't got to the best point of my confidence where I'm like, oh, I don't give a shit what anyone thinks. Sometimes I do get a little bit like, oh, I can't do this, I'm embarrassed. I don't have the confidence for this. But sometimes I'm just like, yeah, I don't care. It's really strange. Like, I think it's a constant growth process. And some people, you know, you might be really confident, but you might really struggle with body confidence. And body confidence is something that I think I've done an episode before about, like, you know, feeling good in your body. So if you want to listen to that, that's probably a good one to go for if you're looking for body confidence vibes, good vibes, you know. But my confidence journey, shall we say, started by when I left college. I gained a tiny bit of confidence because I was in classes with like people I didn't really know. So I had to speak. So that did push me out of my comfort zone, and I feel like the universe was like trying to edge me that way. And then when I left college, I went to work in Sainsbury's as a checkout girl. Now you can imagine someone who's super shy working at a checkout is not the easiest thing, but it got me speaking to random people, and it got me having that confidence to be like, hi, how are you? And not feel like embarrassed or not feel like fearful that someone's going to say something weird. And I worked there for about 3 months, and that really, really helped, especially before I went to uni. It really pushed me to like have that bit of confidence when speaking to people I didn't know, because when I went to uni, I didn't know anyone. So I was going into that like completely like solo, didn't know anyone, on my own. That was quite terrifying, but I was unbelievably excited for it. I think that for me, when I went to uni, it was like a fresh start. No one knew who I was. No one was like, you know, there was no fear of someone pinning me to certain situations, because I had a lot of fear with that throughout school. And then I could just start afresh, which I did. But I still was very shy. I still was very like, you know, oh, I don't know what to do. Like I would stick to the easiest situation. And my friend Becca will tell you, when we started going out, like nights out, I used to go out like 3 times a week, which I actually can't even fathom these days. Like I can't even go out 1 day a week, let alone 3. But anyway, and I had my housemates where I went to uni. You had to go straight into a house because they didn't have what do you call it? Student housing. Didn't have that. So I like had 4 other girls that I was living with, and we'd like go on nights out. And then I made friends with people in my course. My friend Becca was like, come out with us. And I was like, oh no, I'm going with my housemates. And she was like, I used to have to really try with you because you just didn't want to, you were so like scared, like quiet about leaving your housemates. And I was like, yeah, I was terrified that they were going to hate me because I had friends. Like, isn't that weird? But that was just part of my social anxiety. And then as I went through uni, naturally, I just threw myself into every night out possible because all my friends were going and it was fun and I enjoyed it and I was young. And that also helped my confidence because I was talking to random people. Granted, I had alcohol in my system, but I like literally was just talking to random people, having conversations with people, chatting. I'm very good at chatting, and I think a lot of that came from those nights out where I would just chat to random people and make conversation and then end up like either kissing them or like getting their number or following them, or do you know what I mean? Like all of those different things, not literally following them, like following them on social media. I think that helped my confidence in feeling good in myself. And I felt like, okay, yeah, like this is good. And then coming out of uni, I just worked. I think a lot of it is putting yourself in situations that make you feel a bit uncomfortable. Uni wasn't necessarily uncomfortable, but like even when I'd stand up in front of like my group when we were doing like presentations of our work or whatever, that was quite daunting for me, but like I could do it. And it's been a slow process. I think a lot of it is just putting yourself out of your comfort zone and doing things that maybe are quite small, but just get you there. So for instance, maybe that's working a job that is quite social. Maybe that's like joining a club, a class where you have to speak to people. I think often the key to it is like forcing yourself to speak to people. That's the thing that I really struggled with for years. But when you force yourself to speak to people, you then start to feel more confident in having conversations and confident in the fact that, you know, people aren't judging you every time you talk. Because I used to feel like that constantly. I would always fear that people were judging me. I'd always fear that people were like, why are you talking? No one was thinking that. But the social anxiety, the fear in me really knocked my confidence. And so many things happened that would knock my confidence. Whether that's someone saying something nasty, or whether that's someone, you know, laughing at you in a certain type of way where they are laughing with you, but you feel like they're laughing at you. There's been many occasions where I felt like uncomfortable. And I think that that's very normal. And confidence comes from not letting those things feel like an attack, but sometimes it does feel like an attack, and that there's nothing wrong with that. And I think if you're someone out there who's struggling with your confidence, it's just about one, remembering that you are an amazing person. There's nothing wrong with you, and the people that would ever judge you are the people that you don't want in your life anyway. Confidence is something that you do have to develop, and you are amazing. So don't let someone make you feel like you're not worthy, or you're not good enough, or that you're like, they're laughing at you like, bore off. You are amazing. And two, like, you have the ability to have all the confidence in the world. Like, you do. You have the ability to be the most confident person. It's just finding the ways in which work for you that help you to develop that confidence and make you feel like the best you. So there are so many more things you can do. I think it is just figuring out yourself, because everyone's individual and everyone does certain things. So if you like the outdoors, for example, and you really like to go hiking, but you're a bit nervous, you don't want to do it on your own, you don't have the confidence to go alone, see if there's a hiking group. There's always groups of people that are doing things in your kind of area. You can find them either on Instagram, Facebook, probably find them on TikTok too. And you can join those things, and that will help you gain confidence in that. If you're struggling with like confidence in one particular area, like going to the gym, for example, this is something I struggled with. I had little to no confidence going to any sort of workout exercise. I found myself just feeling so uncomfortable and so like, why am I here? Like, I don't need to be here. Like, what am I doing? And I started going to a Pilates class that my friend Tia went to, and she was like, come with me. And that, honestly, like, going with her helped me feel less stressed, and I felt more confident about going in there because I wasn't very good at working out. Now I've been going for like, oh my god, how many months? 9 months, give or take a few, because I had to miss a few, but more or less, let's say between 7 to 9 months, because I've missed a couple of months out. I feel so confident going in there now. I don't stress. I don't worry about people looking at me. Sometimes I do if I'm feeling a little bit not my best. But for the most part, I go in there, I feel confident. I know I can do it. I know I've got the ability to do it. They very rarely correct me. So I feel like, okay, she's doing it right, because they only correct you if you're doing it wrong. And now I'm like, oh, I'm actually really good at this. And it fills me with confidence, because then it makes me believe, okay, yeah, I've got the confidence to go into a workout class and know I can do it. And sometimes it's just about knowing you can do it. But there are times when I feel less confident and I'm word vomiting because I don't know what to say. I have this a lot. This is something, I don't know if anyone else has this too. But if I'm going into a work setting, maybe I'm going to meet someone for something, I will word vomit. I will keep talking. I will keep talking and I will talk about really random crap. And then I'm like, oh my God, what am I doing? Shut up. But you can't because you're still stuck in it. Like, I'll just start talking about random things. Like, oh, the weather, this, oh, I like this brown. But instead of just stopping, I'll keep going. And the person's looking at me like, shut the fuck up. But that comes from like, I think that comes from like the fear of awkwardness at times. Like, I hate the thought of like it being silent and awkward, because then you're like, what do I say now? And then all you're thinking about is what you should say next. But this leads me on to topics you can have saved, ready to talk about. So if you're in a situation where you're not that confident, but you really want to talk and you really want to have a conversation, especially if you're putting yourself out there and you're meeting new people and you're maybe going to a club or you're at a new job or whatever, there's certain things that you like to talk about, that you find easy to talk about when you're talking to people. So one of mine is the weather. I always talk about the weather. If I'm having like a quick interaction with someone, or I'm talking to someone, or if they're like, how's your day been? Yeah, it's good. The weather's bad. Or, oh, so hot today. Like, that is such an easy way in of starting a conversation, because you're like, oh, the weather. And everyone talks about the weather. Everyone. Or it could be, oh, I had a really nice pastry this morning. I had my coffee. I went to this coffee shop. Have little things that you can easily talk to someone about, that are just little nuggets that can be like topic conversation starters. So if there is ever a quiet moment, you can be like, oh, so what got you into this job? Or tell me more about your family. Like, little things that can create a conversation, especially in those awkward moments. Those awkward moments are so hard, and those awkward moments make you feel less confident, because you're like, what's going on? But one thing I have learned about confidence is it really comes from within. There's nothing anyone can say or do to make you more confident. You have to make yourself more confident. You have to work on yourself, and you have to want it. If you want to be more confident, it is about just putting yourself out there, believing in yourself, and remembering that most of the time people aren't judging you. Most of the time people are only focused on themselves. So being confident just comes, and do you know what's a good way of doing it? Do you know what a good way of doing it? Fake it till you make it. If you can fake the confidence, eventually you will be confident. And that is quite a good way of going about it, because there'll be situations where you won't feel confident, where you won't feel strong, where you won't feel like, yeah, I've got this. But if you can fake it to the most part, then those little moments, you'll slowly begin to understand how you can figure out those moments, because sometimes those moments can be quite hard. Like, for example, if you're in an argument and people are going at you, which has happened to me before, I have very, very little confidence with arguments with certain people. And I've definitely gained confidence within an argument. I'm not an argumentative person. I really can't be bothered for it. I don't see the point in it. But sometimes it happens. Sometimes you have to have a discussion. It might be a heated discussion. But it's important to remember that if people know that you're less confident, they will pick at you, and they'll pick you apart, and they will shout at you, and they will talk at you, and they'll make you the problem, because they know you can't fight back. But when you learn how to fight back in a way in which it's like standing your ground and being confident, they then can't keep coming at you. And if they do, you walk away. But I have had it where I've been in a heated discussion, and I have been the target when the problem wasn't even me. They turned the problem onto me. So I became the problem. And I was like, this isn't even why we had this discussion. We had this discussion because you pissed me off, and I just wanted to talk about it. And instead, I've become the problem for X, Y, Z. But because I didn't have the confidence to push back and be like, hang on a minute, we're not talking about this, I just let it happen to me, and I became the problem. So since then, I realized, okay, well, I know when I've been in like heated discussions or situations, and I've learned a lot about things through TikTok, through talking to people, just through growth. And now when I have a conversation like that, I'm a bit more stern with my point. I'm a bit more stern, like, no, we weren't talking about this. Don't bring things into this that aren't important, because I think it's a good way of just keeping the conversation like what you're talking about. It's very easy to like drift and bring other things in to make a conversation to target someone. But it really does come from growth and just putting yourself in those situations. As easier said than done, because not every situation is like easy to put yourself into. Like, you're not going to just try and have an argument with someone, but when they come about, it's like having that argument, having that situation, and then, okay, what can I learn from this for the next time this happens? Okay, like maybe I need to push myself a bit. I need to be a bit more like, stand my ground. And it's the same for any conversation. Maybe you go have a conversation with someone and she's like judging you. Well, what can you do next time when you have this conversation? What do you feel made it awkward? Maybe it was just her. Maybe she was just weird. This happens a lot. Some people are judgy, some people are not nice, and they will knock your confidence because they'll look at you like you're dirt on the floor. But what you say to yourself is, I'm amazing. She's a problem. Often if someone's judging you, it's because they have a problem from their side. It's nothing to do with you. So you don't want those judgy people in your life anyway. Honestly, they are not worth your time. No judgy people needed. But to conclude, just fake it till you make it. Confidence comes from within. So it's about finding where your confidence is at and doing the things that will slowly help you build your confidence. It's not an easier process. It's a long process sometimes. Sometimes it's a quick process. And it's just about putting yourself in situations that do make you feel a tiny bit uncomfortable. But those situations should then help you build that confidence, because you're like doing things that make you feel uncomfortable and you become more confident within those situations. It's about being in different situations and remembering that you're amazing. And it's not about, people judging you, you're not being the most confident person in the room. You don't have to be the most confident person in the room. You've just got to have the confidence to know that you should be there and that you are worthy of whatever you get. You are, just be the confident person you are as best you can. Do you know what I mean? It's just a process. You just got to work at it and you'll get there. And that's the main thing. You will get there, I promise you. It's just a process. And putting yourself out there will be the way to do it. I've just repeated myself about 100 times. But I just wanted to talk about confidence because it's something that I myself have struggled with for so many years. And I now feel confident, but it is purely down to the fact that I put myself in so many situations. The amount of times I go to events on my own just to put myself in an uncomfortable situation to build that confidence. There's so much more confidence to be built from me. There's so much more confidence I could get. But right now I'm feeling really good in myself and I'm feeling pretty confident, and that's good. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this episode. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you like any more like this. And if you've got any topics, do send it on the Still Got Time podcast, Instagram and TikTok. It's still at Still Got Time podcast. Love to see you over there. I always look at my messages, so please do send me a message and we can have a little chat or we can talk about things. I'm definitely down for that. Please also do give the podcast a 5-star rating if you haven't already. It means a lot to me. It helps me out more than you'll ever know. Remember, you've still got time to gain that confidence. You've still got time to become the best you. I love you all, and I will see you next week. Bye.